Welcome to the Red Sox Time Machine, a podcast covering 6 decades of Red Sox memories from Yaz to Roman. Today, we're talking about the legit legends who arrived in Boston for the twilight of their careers, played their final MLB games in a Red Sox uniform, and then quietly walked away. No big farewell tour, no last stand in Yankee pinstripes, just Boston, the monster, and the credits. These aren't scrubs, they're legit Hall of Famers who came in for one last hurrah, or just to prove they still had something left. Back in the 70s and 80s, when most of these guys arrived, we didn't have Sports Center and constant highlights, and every team wasn't on TV every night. And these guys certainly weren't on Boston television every night. So there was a certain mystique to the players we rarely got to see play, even on TV. So their arrival in Boston was pretty exciting for those of us who were around back then. And I'm one of those guys who now can say I was around back then. We won't be mentioning Ted, Yaz, or Jim Rice, although they did finish with the Sox. They played their entire careers here, so they don't qualify for this particular top five list, the top five legends who finished their career with the Red Sox. Even though Big Poppy and Bobby Doerr finished with the Sox, they were here for more than a year. And while Fisk and Boggs are in the Hall, they started with the Sox but didn't end their careers with us. So they're not on the list either. Here we go. Let's count down the top five MLB legends who played their last season in a Red Sox uniform.
Number five.
Louis Aparicio, 1973. Little Louis was a stolen base machine with 506 career swipes, 13 All-Star appearances, and a glove that was Hall of Fame magic. At 39, he had certainly lost a step, but the Sox got production from his last season. In 1973, Louis hit .271, stole his 500th base, easy for me to say, base, against, of course, the Yankees. And on September 28th, he played his final game. No drama, just a quiet exit for one of the slickest shortstops ever. If I remember correctly, during that season, he had something like a 50 plus at bat hitless streak and even got some encouragement from the President of the United States, who I think at that time was Richard Nixon. If I'm wrong, hey, that was a long time ago. I'm doing my best. A classy fade, if there ever was one.
Number four.
Dennis Eckersley, 1998. Eck! The mustache, the hair, it never changed even when he was a silver-haired broadcaster in his 60s. There was also the stare, and he was the blueprint for the modern-day closer. Cy Young, MVP, 6 All-Star appearances, and the Hall of Fame. After lighting it up as a starter for the Sox back in the late 70s and early 80s, he became the modern template for a one-inning closer. I'm a one-take guy, so if I fumble, I fumble. At 43 years old, he returned to Boston for one last ride, mostly as a setup man for Tom Gordon. Do you remember Flash Gordon? He went 4-1 out of the pen, snagged a couple of saves, and was hurt for a lot of the year. So his final appearance came on September 26th at Fenway, and he retired that December. It was a full circle homecoming for a guy who once owned the rotation here. If you're bowing out, do it with that kind of style.
Number three.
Orlando Cepeda, 1973. The baby bull had 379 career home runs, mostly with the Giants, and enough for 11 All-Star appearances, an MVP, and the Hall of Fame. His knees were shot when the Oakland A's released him in 1972, but the American League had the brand new DH rule, and that gave him a new lease on life as the Sox signed him. He was our first DH. And after a really rough start, he was hitless in his first three games, I think, his first 12 at bats. His first hit of the Red Sox was a walk-off solo homer against the Yankees in his third game at Fenway. He went on to hit 289 with 20 homers and 86 RBIs at age 35, and he was the winner of the very first Outstanding Designated Hitter Award. And then, done. He was released during spring training of 1974. He tried to catch on with Kansas City Royals, but it was over for him. Boston gave him a career-saving year when nobody else wanted him.
Number two.
Juan Marichal, the Dominican dandy with his super high leg kick. He had 243 wins, 10 All-Star appearances, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He was Giants royalty. Unfortunately, his arm gave out, his back gave out, and the Giants gave up hope on him and cut him loose. And of course, the Red Sox grabbed him for 1974. It had worked a few years earlier with Louis Tiant, so why not go to the well one more time and give it one more try? At 36, he went 5-1 in 11 starts, and there were certainly flashes of the old magic in spots. But he was released after the season, and he signed with the Dodgers, where he threw two brutal games in 1975 and knew enough to hang him up. So his last meaningful action was in Boston. So we're counting it. I needed five on this list. If we lost him, I only had a top four. The guy who dominated the 60s got one final taste of the big leagues in Fenway instead of disappearing into obscurity.
Number one.
Our number one could only be Tom Seaver in 1986. Tom Terrific, the franchise. He was already a 300 game winner and owner of 12 All-Star appearances with the Mets. But at 41 and fading fast with the White Sox, they traded him to Boston at the deadline for Steve Psycho Lyons, who played for the Red Sox three different times. He was fun to watch. He might not have been the best baseball player to ever play for the Red Sox, but he could run, he could catch, he could throw, and once in a while he had a key hit. Back to Tom Seaver, he went 5-7 with a 3.80 ERA and 16 starts, and we'd take that 3.80 ERA in 2026, wouldn't we? On August 18th against the Twins, he threw a vintage Tom Seaver game. He went 8 2/3 with 7 strikeouts and earned his 311th win, his last win. He got hurt and missed the 86 playoffs. Wonder if that would have made a difference. And never pitched again. His final appearance was September 19th at Fenway, and he had a truly mic drop ending. I have some honorable mentions. Elston Howard helped the 1967 Impossible Dream Team, but didn't wrap it up until the following season. Tony Perez and Tim McCarver had stints here late in their career, but didn't quite finish their careers in Boston. They played another year or two for other teams. But the five I mentioned, in my opinion, they're the clear leaders for a final chapter in a Red Sox uniform. Baseball doesn't always give legends the Hollywood finish. Sometimes it's just one more Fenway night and a quiet retirement. What do you think? Did I miss anyone? Did I get anybody wrong? Hit me in the comments.